So this is going to be a video showing how I'm going to be building this roll bar. I'm going to try to do editing on the video, figure out how to do that, and that way I can do all these parts and combine it into one video without making a 20 or 30 or 1 hour or 2 hour long video, however long this takes me to do. So this is from a cj5, an 81 cj5. But the YJs had the same type of roll bar where it's slanted like this. So what I need to do is I need to cut off the legs to lower it because it's too high for, this. I need to cut out the middle because I need to extend it. And then I need to cut out these legs, which already one is, so I can make the roll bar vertical straight up. So everything is cut apart. It's all in pieces now. The longer pieces, like the L-shaped one right there, those are going to be going on the bed corners. Now, they're too long, and from all the pictures that I've seen of the Gladiators, the Honchos and stuff, with the factory roll bar slightly goes higher than the cabin. So I'm going to try to do something like that. I don't want it too high, but I'm going to go slightly a hair above the cabin. So what I did is I took a straight edge. The cabin, mind you, is not perfectly straight, but I'm just using a straight edge to get a rough idea. So holding this with one hand, that's where the bar is going to be down there. It's actually going to be in this hole right here on top. To the straight edge is 22 inches. So slightly above might be 22 and a half. So I'm going to cut this thing at 22 and a half inches. And maybe 23 just in case. I can always grind off. So I'm going to do 22 and a half. So you got to get the straight edge again, and you got to go at the highest point up here. Now this thing does curve a little bit towards the center, so it might be slightly higher in the center. I've noticed they all tend to do that. But anyway, so we're going to go from right here, and then I got to get my straight edge, and I got to go 22 and a half, which is roughly about where this mark is right there. Yeah, that's about where that mark is right there. So I'm going to mark it, and then I got to cut off this leg right here. You see how it sticks out too far? But if I point it down, then it lines up with the vehicle, and that's the kind of the way you want it to be. You want it to line up, right? But if I do that, the center pipe points downward. And I'm thinking to myself, how the hell am I going to bend this? So I called my friend, older gentleman who used to be a welder, and he gave me a great idea. All I'd have to do is just cut up there, or cut at one of the angles right here, and then I'd have to cut the top, like maybe 80% of the top off. And then you grab the pipe. So let me put this down so I can show you so I don't bust anything. So cut, like, say, right here, if that makes sense. And only cut to where my finger is, leave the bottom. And then with that gap that you use to cut, you grab the pipe and you bend it upward. And in doing so, it'll be able to be slanted with the body. So the pipe will be slanted with the body, and then when I push that up, I can line it up with the roof. And then you just weld the welds, or weld the pipe that you cut. Pretty simple. Then just grind it down to make it nice and smooth. Great idea. Did not think about that. So that's what I'm going to be doing next. Here it is. I mentioned in the last part that I had to cut right here. Now it's not cut all the way through. You can see there's just a little sliver left right here, and the reason why my friend told me to do this, he's a welder, is you cut the pipe wide up here. That way you can push down on this, and when you do that, it lifts this up. And I had to do that because I didn't realize the cabin gets narrower on the top and it gets wider on the bottom. I didn't think about that. Otherwise, if I did that, the roll bar would just go straight up and it'll be sticking out on the sides. That looks weird. So that worked perfectly. Now, because I had to do that, it's narrow on the top. It's not actually 60 and a half like it was on the bottom. It's more like 54 or so up here. So because of that, all I had to do was cut like 4 inches of pipe. I might have to actually make that pipe smaller. I'm not sure yet. The shorter the pipe is, the more this corner points inward. The longer the pipe is, the more this corner gets vertical, if that makes sense. Does that make sense to you guys? I hope it does. Everybody, so Here's kind of what it'll look like. Kind of. I still have to work on this part right here. I just put these on just to give you guys an idea. So I tack welded those because I don't need those bent anymore. The center has that point that the cabin does. I don't know if you can tell, the cabin has like this point that goes up because it gets narrow on the top and it kind of points up. So I did that as best as I could. Here's what it looks like from behind. It's not quite center, off by maybe 1 inch. So that point I might just kind of shave down just a little bit so it doesn't look kind of wonky, you know what I mean? But it's all tack welded, so it won't move right now. That's all welded in. You can see now it lines up with the side of the Jeep, just like on the other side. Lines up pretty good with the body lines, I think. It's as good as I can get it. So these pieces right here, this is too far of a slope, in my opinion. Obviously, it's too long too, and you know this is just leaning up against the car. So when that's straight, these are going to be up just a tiny bit more, but I still don't like that length. All right, everybody, here's the semi-final product. Got all the tubes spot welded together, or tack welded together, I should say. Everything lines up pretty well, I think. This side over here is like 22 inches from point to point. This side is like 22 and a half, or sorry, 22 and a quarter. So it's off just a hair. And I know it looks like, you know, it's a larger gap on the top and smaller gap on the bottom, and that's just because the cabin goes this way. If you look at the actual pictures of the factory roll bar, it looks the same as far as, you know, making it kind of look crooked or whatever, but it's not actually crooked. It's straight with the bed. It's just the cabin goes that way. So the only thing I got to do now is I got to grind these off smoothly. Got to fill in that hole right there. Got to finish welding all this. The welding wire that I have right now is that really, really crappy wire from Tractor Supply. I cannot get good welds with that, so it looks like shit right here. So I'm going to go get some better wire tomorrow if I can, and then finish welding all this up. All right, everybody, I finished the roll bar as far as welding and stuff goes. All I got to do is tomorrow after work, I need to get some paint. And I need to drill 3 holes here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and I need to get some washers and bolts and nuts, and I'm going to bolt it to the bed and clean up the old paint, and I'm going to repaint it. I was trying to debate if I should paint it black or if I should paint it the color of the car. When it was up there with this blue, it actually looked kind of good, the color of the car, so I think I'm just going to paint it the paint that I used for the tailgate and my floorboards, because that paint is what I'm going to be using eventually to repaint my car when I do paint it, so or my Jeep. So anyway, that's the finished product. The welds kind of suck in some spots. They're pretty good in other spots. I ground down these welds up here so you don't see them. The rest of them I'm just going to leave. You see, like, these welds are okay. The ones down there are okay. Some of the welds look pretty bad, though, because of that wire. I've mentioned this many times. Don't buy wire from Tractor Supply, flux core wire. It's the absolute worst wire. You'll constantly have skipping when you weld. It doesn't, for some reason, it doesn't melt the metal properly either. Not really impressed with that wire, but it's all I had. I had a full spool, so turned down the wire speed really low, and it stops skipping when you do that, and actually welds decently. So it's plenty strong. I've sat on the thing. You know, I've picked it up and I've tried bending it and stuff. It's not going anywhere. And it's not really meant for roll protection for the Jeep anyway. But it's better than not having anything, right? The main reason why I built it was just because it looks cool. And I plan to put a couple lights on there. I'm not sure how many, maybe just 1 or 2, or 1, 2, 3, or 4 of them. Not really sure. Not sure what kind of lights. The Grand Wagoneer I have has the old KC circular style lights. They're not KC lights specifically, but they look identical to KC. But you can buy those on Amazon for, when I got them, they were like $10 a piece. I think they're like $14 or $15 a piece now. The KC lights for 2 of them are like $400. KC is, I don't know what the hell they're smoking, but that's the only time I actually will buy Chinese stuff, because I'm not going to overpay on something just as simple as a light. So I'm not sure, round lights or square lights, you know, the square ones like the Twister Jeep had. Not sure yet. I'm not sure if I'm going to go old-fashioned lights, you know, maybe LEDs. I have no idea. LEDs look better on newer cars than they do the older ones. So like for this Grand Cherokee, you know, for the brush guard up here, I'm probably going to put LED lights, because this Jeep just looks more modern, you know what I mean? It just has more stream style look to it than the old trucks do. So, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is, like I said, the first time I've been trying to edit stuff, so hopefully it comes out okay. And if you're wondering, the reason why this is curved over here is because the front, as I mentioned, I had to push down in order to get the angle, the sideways angle for the cabin. And because I pushed it down, you can't line the bar up straight, so the bar has to be turned sideways. So it actually looks kind of cool like that, in my opinion. So it has still a little bit of a point up on the top, and the reason why is because I had to bend the metal upward. So you basically have 2 of them in like a triangle, you know, position, almost like. There's no way to get that perfectly straight. Just is what it is. So thanks for watching, everybody.